Hello, welcome to Product T1 product demo. And today I'm going to demonstrate to you and show you how T1 works and what functionalities you need to use or set up in order for you to properly get or have your own company setting. Right now I'm on the home page. You have two either way of logging in or clocking into your account. It's either you go to the website and you click on the login page screen here or login, and then you will be led to this page. Or either way, you can download our desktop app as well, so you can get the same page. As of the moment, I'm going to show you how to log into the account. I'll be using the company name T1 Demo because this is what I'm usually use for a demo. And after you click on sign in button, you will see the username and password that you need to type in. Both username and password are case sensitive, so you need to make sure that these two information are correct. Otherwise, you will get an error message. So I will log into the admin account in order for me to set up and show you how admin setup would look like. Now we have here on top are the main menus, wherein this will lead you to some of the features that we have that you can use. For example, under the setting page, which is the number one, the setting page will help you out set up your account. For request page, these are the type of, this is the page wherein you can see all the PTO request of your employees. Then once you have it here, you can either approve or deny the request. You can also see the pending request and the history that you had before approved from this page as well. The next page we have is a list view page. List view page is almost similar and with the day view page. The difference between the two is just the list view page will show you the name of the employees here, and the function of the list view page is for you to show what are the clock in, clock outs, or to view the clock in, clock outs of your employee. So I have 3 users here. So as you can see, there are no clock in, clock out yet. So let me just adjust the date here. So there you go. You see the there's no clock in, clock out, but this is an approved PTO vacation by the administrator. So other employees doesn't have one yet. We have the name January, who clocked out last September 1st, right, 9 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so this is the view where you can also add multiple entries. Like if you click on add entry, you can select multiple employees and then select the date range. For example, 18th and 16th, for example, and their shift, and then their job. If they're on the same job, let's say, for example, they're on both clerical, and they need to go on a 6 to 95 p.m. So if you click on add, these 3 employees from the clerical office department or job, moving from 16th until and 18th of 16th and 18th of September, they will have a 9 to 5 clock in, clock out. So let's see. So we have here January, we have John Smith, and we also have George Washington here. Now, if you want to click or add manually as an administrator an absence or PTO absence for your employee, you have to click on absence or add absence. Same thing or same process. All you have to do is to click the name of the employee, select them, and then get the date. Let's for example, this is a feature dated leave. So come September 30, this employee would like to take a holiday or vacation leave for how many hours? For 8 hours, let's say. So if you click on add, now let's go to April. So you will see here, I'm in January. You see here on September 30th, you will have a vacation approved or set by the administrator. All right, so under the day view page, you will see here also the clock in, clock out of the employee. But the only missing here is that you cannot add multiple entries here, unlike in list view page. So as you can see, as an administrator, you have individual clock um, add link button here on the right hand column. Now, if there is an existing plugin already, or if this is where you actually edit most of the time and add some single entry, and you can also edit. Let's say for example, this is a wrong entry, so you have to do this is just for 4 hours, so you can edit it from here. So this is all where you can see all your employees clock in and clock out. So we have here the total work hours per week. All right, and then on top you will see the total work hours based on the date range you have set up here, from this date to this date. So from September 1st to September 30th, um, he has already in 16 hours of total work hours. All right, so this is where you can see and check the regular clock in, clock out of your employee. How about the where button or the where tab page? The where page shows you the actual location of the employee who clock in and clock out, their location. Now, if their GPS location is enabled in our devices, you will see their GPS addresses here. Their photo, if you allow them to have a photo capturing, you will see their photo here. All right, along with their clock in, clock out. So as of the moment, there is no pictures, but there's a clock in, clock out. All right. Now, also from the GPS tab, you will also see where most of these employee clock in and clock out. It's like a form of a map. So if you go to this one, you will see a map. So there's no actual clock in, clock out yet, so nothing to display. So under the next page that we have here is the who is in. So if you click on who is, it will show you who are the employee or users who are currently clocked in and clocked out for today. So as you can see here, there are columns of number of employees for today under this department, and who are currently working in today and who are not currently working for today. So we have only 3 employees here, and none of them are clocked in yet as of the moment. As you notice, if you wanted to see the actual clock in, clock out here, you will see it here as well. All I have to do is to refresh it if you wanted to see the new entries from your employees. The shift schedule and job schedule is basically almost the same as well. However, shift schedule also provide you a way for you to schedule a shift for your employees, while jobs is like if you wanted your employee to select a job for a certain day, they can go ahead and you can go ahead and schedule them for this. But the job schedule is just for viewing purposes only, as well as the shift schedule. Now let me give you an example here. Just let's go to the shift schedule. If we have created a shift name under the setting page, well, the next step that you need to do is to schedule your employee under this page, which is the shift schedule page. Very easy. It's all you have to do is to click on add schedule button here on the upper right hand corner, and then click the name of the employee that you wanted to schedule. Let's say John Smith that we have here. And I only have one shift schedule that I created earlier, which is morning shift. So I click on this one, and then from September 18th up to the 24th, I wanted John Smith to have a morning shift. All right, so if I click on add, what will gonna happen is that you will see down at the bottom here, it's John Smith is scheduled for a morning shift. Now you wanted to see them on a list view. You can click on list view here. By the way, list view on top is different from the list view under the shift schedule page. All right, so this is also way for you to select every employee. Let's say for example, I wanted to remove some of them on the list. All right, or I wanted to remove all of them on the list. It's easier for you to do that instead of going to the calendar view and then click on each of them and then delete one each of them one by one. So if you want to delete them in multiple actions, so all I have to do is to click or select the boxes here, and then on top right hand corner you will see your delete selected items. Then once you click on delete and confirm that you want to delete them, and when you go back to the calendar view, you will no longer see all the shift schedules here. So it's time for you to refresh and create a new schedule for everyone. All right, same goes with the job schedule. All you have to do if you have a job already created under the setting page is almost the same thing. All you have to do is to click on job, and then how often you wanted this employee to be scheduled on the job. So I want this John Smith in January to report in a job site 1 from the 18th and 24th. But the functionality of the jobs actually you can have each and every one to have multiple jobs in this type of setup for scheduling. For example, I have, let's say, pick one John Smith here for job site 1 on the 18th, which is for 1 day only. So let's do that. All right. So where's John Smith here? Here's the 18th. Oops. Let's say we have, sorry, John Smith here. There we go. All right. The reason why earlier did not appear because, as you notice, 18th and 19th is a Saturday and a Sunday on the calendar. So as you notice, there is no Saturday and Sunday. Click here on the options. So when I click on and select the whole week, and then make sure that all Mondays and Fridays are being plotted correctly, so I reset it once again. So I want to pick again John Smith, and let's see if I will assign him to the same schedule on the same date as well. So as you notice, I can assign multiple jobs to each employee each day. Unlike in the shift schedule, if you do have, for example, you have scheduled, I would like to schedule John Smith to be in the morning shift, all right, from 18th to 24th. And then let me go back to the setting page. And then I will make or create a new shift named afternoon shift. So I'll go to the shift tab here, and then create a new shift called afternoon shift. So let me name it after afternoon shift. There we go. And it's supposed to be, let's say, it starts at 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. All right. Okay. I don't want to put any restriction on it, so I click on add. So we have afternoon shifts here. Let me go back to shift schedule once again. And then I'm going to be adding another shift schedule for John Smith, just like what I did earlier. Under the schedule for John Smith, I would like to make him also have another shift in the afternoon on the same date from 18th to 24th. So it will be plotted here, afternoon. So, and then John Smith morning shift. All right. So what you notice here, John Smith is now in the morning, and then if you wanted to have it on in the afternoon, that's not possible. Unlike jobs, you can assign multiple jobs in each users. In a shift, each user can only be assigned in a single shift each day. All right. So don't be confused on that. So that's the difference just between the two, job schedule and shift schedule. All right. So it's also important for you to make sure that if you wanted to have your employees select a certain shift in a day, that you need to schedule them here. Creating a shift name under the setting page is not enough for you to create a shift. All right. After you create a shift, all you have to do is, of course, assign those shifts, assign whose employee will gonna undergone that those shifts, and who were not supposed to undergo that shifts. All right. So, and that's under the shift schedule page. And the next page that we have here is the approved page. The approved page is where you can, as a manager or administrator on the account, is to approve the clock in, clock out of the employee. Let's, for example, let's see here. All right. So January has a clock in from September 1st. All right. And the manager, the administrator haven't approved it yet because the tag is still no and it's in red. So all I have to do is to select by clicking on the box or put a tick on the box and then click on approve. So it's approved already. So I would like to select this as well. The reason why you're approving this is because you want to make sure that the entries are correct. All right. And then once the payroll department or payroll officer saw that you have already approved this timesheet record, meaning to say it's true and correct, you have certified it true and correct. So it's about time for them to process the paycheck for each employee. All right. So that's the purpose of this. But if you use every example, oh, I missed this one, so this is not supposed to be approved because this is not yet supposed to be. This is supposed to be, let's say, a 10 to I mean, 2 to 10 schedule. So I will have to confirm and clarify with the employee first before this will be approved. So that's the purpose of approving the timesheet records in our system. Next, we have here the reports. We have 30 plus different reports that you can use from or download from. This type of reports will help you either download the timesheet records or punch in, punch out of your employees. And we also have several types of payroll reporting reports that you can use, say, for ADP. We also have for paychecks, Paylocity. We even have QuickBook Payroll .iif here below. We also have one here for MSL payroll. So we have different format of our report. We have CSV, we have PDF, Excel, and you can even request for a customized report. As you can see at the note at the bottom here, for every time you request for a customized report solely for your company, we can create one for you. Just send us or provide us the format that you need, and then it will just cost you a one-time fee of $390. So you can go ahead and use that for your company. Now, if you notice that there are some highlighted blue here, it's the reason for that. I bookmarked each of them. So by next time I run a report, I don't have to, you know, check one by one which report I used previously. So you can bookmark it by clicking on the star icon here beside the payroll button. All right. So my hours next is, if you're, by the way, if you're new to reports and you don't know which report you preferably would like to run, instead of running one by one all of these reports, we have a download sample reports link here. If you click on this one, it will show you a sample of each of the reports, commonly used reports that we have here, and there are some sample clock in, clock outs there that you can see. So if you click on this one, at least you will have an idea without, you know, putting manually the clock in, clock out employee just for you to run the report, where you have the content on it. You can go ahead and download the sample reports here. All right. Next, we have the My Hours. My Hours, basically your own administrator hour. If you have your own clock in, clock out as an administrator, this is how it looks like. So if you notice, the options on top changes. This is where you can see the difference between the employee access mode and the administrator mode. Right now, we are on the employee access mode. This is exactly what your employee will see when they log into their own account. So they have the shift schedule. They will see the schedule that I created for them. They will see also the PTO accruals, that their balances and their used PTO accruals. They can go ahead and also approve their own timesheet records before you approve their timesheet record as an administrator. So if it's mandatory in your company that employee needs to approve their timesheet records before you approve it, so be it. And then on my setting is actually how are you going to set up your profile, like if you want to change your password. Okay, so if you click on my username under this page, you will see you have here you can click on the change password, and then you will be prompted to enter the password here, the new password. So basically what you have on the administrator access is totally different what you have in the employee access mode. So if an employee would like to send a request, they have a request button here. All right. They wanted to see their timesheet records, they can go to the lease view and day view. They wanted to see their own clock in, clock out. So if your employee clock in, log into their account, they can only see all the information that is related to their own timesheet records. So they won't be able to see others. Unlike you as an administrator, you can see all across all users, all their information and clock in, clock out. All right, so let me go back to the admin mode. Okay, so here in the admin mode, last page or last tab that we'll be discussing will be the setting page. This is where you most likely go in order for you to set up your account, or if you are new to creating your account. So as you can see here, I have already created or added three employees. I am the creator of the account, which is the administrator. And then if you notice, this is blue because if you want to go inside each profile, all you have to do is to click the name. It's very simple to edit the profile. If there's some changes, let's say for example, January is just an employee. Now she will be promoted come next month, and then all you have to do is to click the name and then change your profile role under the role field from employee to become a manager or an administrator on the account. All right, so let's start first with the first tab that we have here under the setting. The submenu user is actually this one, used to add users or new users on your account. So you basically have to click on the add user here, and then what will gonna happen is that you will be prompted to see a blank page wherein you have to fill in all the information, like the full name of the employee, the username. Now it's very user friendly because there are some explanation on the right hand side. If it's optional, you don't really have to put in information except for the full name and the username of the employee. So you might be wondering why there is no password required for each employee. It's because they can set up their own password. If you want to ease the pain of setting up one by one your employee here, just assign the username and then let them assign their own password once they are logged into their account. The same thing that I showed you earlier under the my setting page. All right, digit ID is actually used when you select to use in the future QR code, barcode, RFID. If you have an RFID card, all you have to do is to put the badge RFID card number here. All right, and then in the login page, you have to select the appropriate method of clocking in and clocking out. And then later I'll show you how you're going to do that. Employee number, if it's not really necessarily, you don't have to, you can leave it blank. Though the next page that we have here, or is under the pay. All right, so the pay page, you will see here the overtime ruling. If you're allowing this employee to have a daily overtime, like beyond 8 hours, will be considered and tagged as an overtime. Then what's the hire date? If the employee is a full-timer or a part-timer. Either way, if the employee is a salaried employee or an hourly employee. Now you have to put here the rate. If the employee is an hourly or salaried rate, how would you base the salary rate of the employee? Will it be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? And then how many hours in total does this employee needs to work in a week? Something like this. And then how much you need to pay for this employee for a week, let's say $200. All right, so we only accept a dollar in our system For now, there's no other currencies available in our system but for dollars, US dollars. Now, next we have here is to check their location if they are on the correct time zone, if they're using the same time zone as in your office. If they're located on different time zone, like in different state, all you have to do is to select which state they belongs to and what's the name of the city. And then if they have a department that they need to render their um, to their office, you can select which department are they supposed to be reporting. Now, this is what I'm saying earlier, the role, and we have three different types of roles. We have employee, manager, and admin. This is also where you put the employee into an active mode. The employee can be in active mode if the employee will need to be on a vacation, like for a certain period of time, like for a month or two, and you don't want him to appear on the list, and either way on the reports as well. You need to put him on inactive status so that whenever you run the reports, his name will not show up on the report. Okay. Now, putting an employee into an inactive status will not lose his clock in, clock out data. If you delete permanently the employee profile, that will include all the entire clock in, clock out data of your employee, and I'm afraid we cannot retrieve that for you. So if that's going to happen, so if you just wanted to keep the record of the employee, but you don't want them to be listed on the users list, you might as well put them in an inactive mode. All right. So right now I select this employee to be an employee. Now under that, you will see some restrictions. Now, if you wanted to have this employee allowed to send message to other employee or to the administrator, if you want this employee to edit his own timesheet records, which most likely not being allowed by employers, allowed to see the where page. Remember, the where page is where you can see where he clocks in and clock out. So if you don't want him to see that, you can just um, remove the check from here. All right. The who is in tab, wherein he can see who are currently clocked in and clocked out for today, or who are currently present as of the moment. Okay. And then camera required for clock in, clock out. If you put a check on this one, meaning to say whenever they clock in, clock out, they are required to take their photo on the screen. So to make sure that there are no buddy or pal punching that's going to happen for each of your employee. Now, clock time limit is currently off right now. It's grayed out because of the shift. Now it's because the shift setting. If you go to shift, if we go to shift later, you will see some setting which is also being done here under the clock time limit. So clock points is to simply allow to your employee to clock in from anywhere. So allow to clock from anywhere. If you say on, it means allow to clock from authorized clock points. So if it's turned on, there is another setting that you need to make sure that this employee should be able to clock in and clock out from the authorized location only. So if it's turned off, meaning you are authorizing this employee to clock in and clock out from anywhere. Okay. So now how am I going to make sure that my employee will be able to clock in and clock out from the office, not from their home or on their way to the office? That is what we call the clock points setting. So if you turn on this employee to have a clock point setting, all I have to do is to click on clock points here. Now there's another way of doing this. Later I'll show you how. All right, this is if you're going to be using a face clock recognition, all you have to do is to make sure that the photo uploaded in this of this employee will be almost the same as the figure that we have here. The face should be well projected and well focused on the frame. All right. So other information such as contact information or date of birth are optional as well. So a little bit of a memo, you can put as much as 1,500 characters on this one. And then once done, you have to click on add. All right. So once you're done here, they will be enlisted on the list of users here. on under the users page. So you will see them here. If you want to do some changes, once again, all to do is to click on their name, and that's it. You can see the same page. Now earlier I was asking how can I make my employee only clock in clock out from a certain location, and this is where you can see under the setting again is the clock points. Now if you click on the clock points, all you have to do is to select what type of method you would like your employee to be restricted when they clock in clock out. For example, I only clock in, I wanted to have my employee to clock in and clock out from the office, and I wanted to use a GPS. I want to use the office GPS. I wanted to use the office IP address or certain devices that you wanted them to use. By clicking on each one of this one, let's say for example, I click on add IP here, and then let's say office address. I mean office main. All right. Now, if you don't know your IP address, all I have to do is to click on check my IP address. And once you click on this one, all you have to do is to copy the prompted IP address and paste it here. Once done, and then click on save. All right. What we're going to happen is that what's the next step is that you will see and appear here the IP address, the name of the IP address, which is office main. And then you now have the authorized IP address here that your employee needs to use whenever they clock in or clock out. Now you need to select whose employee will have to use the IP address. If you plan to have everybody, all of your employee, to be able to clock in and clock out only on one single location, you don't need to go one by one in each employee profile here to set up the clock points here. The clock points here. You don't have to go one by one and turn on each clock points for each employee. All you have to do is go to the setting page, and under the company setting, there is a setting here for clock points, company setting for the entire company, meaning you are setting up the entire company profile. So you see here clock points here. As you notice, it's defined per user. That's why I need to select each and every one, because I would like only few people to be able to clock in and clock out on that location. Now, if I wanted everybody to be able to clock in, clock out, and do it, including myself, all right, as an administrator, I need to select this feature on to all employees or to all users. Then once I say that, automatically everyone should be under the IP address I selected earlier under the clock points here. All right, and either way, if they're not in the office and then or uses a different IP address for clocking clock out, they are in the office but they're using their phone for clocking clock out, which is not hooked on your office IP address or IP network, they won't be able to clock in and clock out. So that is the way you will restrict your employee from clocking in, clocking out only from the allowed location. So that's the clock points feature. So we jump in, but that's all right. At least you won't get confused on how to set up the clock points. Now, next tab we have here is the company setting. So as I mentioned earlier, this is basically an entire company setting where you can change your company name. All right, this is also where you can get the company URL. Once you're done adding your employee on the under the users page list, all you have to do is to copy this one and provide them the link. All right, so they can easily clock in and clock out or access the login page screen. Once they have this, you have to make sure as well that they know their username and password in order for them to clock in and clock out. We have a camera feature here. Camera is used for camera photo capturing whenever they clock in, clock out. If you wanted them to have their photo to be taken or picture, if it's not really required, just have to put it not required. And then how would you like to see your timesheet records display? If you wanted to start the day in a week on a Sunday or on a Monday, it's up to you. And how would you like to have the time entry to be rounded off? If you wanted to see a real-time clock in, clock out, their actual real-time clock in, clock out, this is supposed to be set as 1. Now, there are some other companies who require to have their clock in, clock out whenever they clock in to be rounded off to the nearest let's say 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7, 10 minutes, 15, and 30 minutes. So this is where you're going to set it up. We also have a auto launch deduction, meaning to say if you turn this on or say yes on this one, and let's say I wanted to deduct 30 minutes automatically in a total work hours of each employee if they have rendered 4 hours straight from the time they clock in, clock out. So if they clock in at 8 o'clock and then clock out at 5 automatically, they will be deducted 30 minutes. So they don't have to clock in, clock out for lunch. The system will automatically deduct the certain unpaid lunch break for them. So, but if you want to monitor the clock in, clock out, that's absolutely fine. They can clock in, clock out multiple times in a day on our system. So just leave it now. Now, normally, all the settings here are self-explanatory. How would you like to see the date format, time format, the default time zone of your company? All right. Now, how would you like everybody to request their PTO? If everyone already exceeds their PTO accrual balance, would you still want them to send a request, be able to send a request? If you click on before exceeding PTO accruals, meaning to say, if they already exceeded or they're going to maximize their accrual balance, might as well set it like this one, before exceeding PTO accruals. But in any condition, even if they have negative PTO accruals left on the account or they are zero out, and yet it's an emergency that you need to allow them to send a request, then it has to be set up in all conditions. Enter note when clocking in, clocking out. This is also important. Let's say they encounter a problem when they clock in, clock out, and they wasn't able to clock in on time. And then when they're able to clock in, clock out, they can go ahead and leave a note for the administrator to see when they clock in. Now, the clock UI button is actually the method of how would you like to control your employee to clock in and clock out. So we have 7 different ways of allowing your employee. 6 different ways you're allowing 5. So we have user clock. This option is used for your employee to clock in, clock out through a username and password. Pin clock is like putting in the pin number. Face clock is of course a face clock recognition. Name clock is just putting up their name. QR code is of course barcode or QR code. Pin code is also used for RFID. If they have a badge for RFID, NFC tag, this option needs to be used by employee in order for them to clock in, clock out using their NFC tag or their RFID badges. Group clock is actually used by the manager. A manager can go ahead and clock a certain group of people through this option. So if you wanted this to be present all the time when they clock in, clock out for all your managers' benefit, then all you have to do is to make sure that this has a check on it. So for offline clock, if anyone doesn't have an internet connection and then they wanted to be able to clock in and clock out, then you can go ahead and click this one, offline clock, meaning to say they can go ahead and clock in even not hooked on the internet. However, your account must have a credit, a minimum credit of $10 on it, because every time they clock in using this option, they will charge your remaining credit for 5 cents per clock in and clock out. Overtime, daily overtime, weekly overtime, you can set it up here. Login button. So if you only want your employee to only clock in and clock out, not to be able to log into their account, you can set it allow only admin and managers to be able to log in. So the login button will not appear on each employee or employee users, but if it's set to allow all users, then they can go ahead and also log in and see their timesheet records. Other information that you have here on the list, from the ship down to account created, are related to all these options in the top menu here. Now, just to show you the shift schedule, job schedule, overtime, PTO accruals, approve, clock points, message, notification are actually displayed here. So notification, we have clock points, shift, all right, PTO accruals, PTO as well, PTO names. If you are not going to use some of these features here and it's quite annoying you to show a bulk of information here, you can turn off some of it. For example, I will not be using the notification. So I would like to turn this off. And if I click save, what will going to happen is the notification will no longer appear here. All right. So that's how simple it is. So by turning off, turning on the feature, you'll be able to see them here. So that's basically it under the company setting. And next is we have the department managers, department users. This is the department is where you create a department. Again, like what I mentioned earlier, you can only assign one single department for each employee. All right, so this is where you create departments. If you click on add department here, you will be given an option to name the department. If you have a department code, you can put it here. Once done, you can assign managers on each department by clicking on the assign more button here. So this is where you can assign. After you create the department, next step is for you to assign the department managers. So by clicking on the assign more here, you can select managers here. Which department needs to handle this particular department name? Now, there's another way of assigning the managers by going to the department managers tab. So it's also the same thing. You will see the name of the department here, the name of the name of the manager, and then you have to assign this time the department that they need to manage. All right. So another one is, of course, assigning a department manager will be useless if they don't have users assigned to their department. All you have to do is to click on department users and then assign each users to each department. So these are the department names. As you notice, we have three different three employees assigned to medical departments, but there's no one assigned to IT department. So I click on IT department. This is the IT department now, and I will go ahead and assign a user here. So let's say I will assign January. So you will notice that medical department loses one employee here because January is actually previously in the medical department. I reassign her to be in the IT department. So this is basically explaining that no one can have a multiple department assigned to them, all right, except for a manager. Manager can handle multiple departments. Like George Washington is one of the department manager. If you go back to the department manager, you will see his name appear in both departments. So that's the difference. Next, we have overtime roles and overtime role users. Now, we have different types of rules set up based on the company requirements. Once you go to overtime rules, it's up to you to declare what type of ruling would you like to set up for an overtime rule. So, for example, I have here created a daily overtime. Let me edit this one and see how it looks like. So I name it to a daily overtime because I want to set up the daily overtime 8 hours. They will have a time and a half rate for an overtime. I turn off the double overtime. Let's say if just turn on, let's say 12 hours. Beyond 12 hours of work will automatically calculate a double time rate here. All right, for the employee per hour. So I wanted this employee to not to exceed 40 hours each week. So this is how are you going to set up. So basically for payroll department, it's very self-explanatory. It's very simple to understand. All you have to do is just to click save once done. And then once it's set up, all you have to do is to go to the overtime rule users. all right? Or you can either go to the assign rule to users. Either way, it will lead you to this page. So overtime rule. So after you created a rule, what's next is you will have to assign the rules, the overtime rule to each employee, just like simple assigning as a department. So that's how you would like them. If they will not be assigned to this rule, the system will not calculate their overtime if they go beyond 8 hours or 40 hours per week. All right. So PTO accruals. Next, we have the PTO names. We have PTO accruals as well. This is where some of the administrator are having difficulties or confusions in setting up. So PTO can be used as a PTO leave. All right. We have vacation. We can set it unpaid or paid, something like that. So this is where you go. We have a default 245 PTO names here that you can edit or modify. You can change it the way how your company would like to name it for PTO names. Now, let's start creating a PTO accruals for every employee. Example, I want one employee. Let's say, for example, the name of the employee is January. I want to set the vacation time or vacation PTO for him. I want her to have a monthly 10 hours accruals that is available for her to use every month. And I wanted that to start accruing, let's say September 1st, all right, of next month. Let's say October of next month. Today, let's say is September, month of September, and the next month is October. I wanted to start the time accrued next month by the 1st of October. So I will have to calculate the total yearly of 120 hours, which will give me a total of 10 hours per month. And I would like to have it start accruing um, every beginning of the period. And if I set here the beginning date is today, so come October 1st, all right, it will count 30 days. Come October 1st, it will start accrued because from today up until the next month, all right, if I click on save, I will have 10 hours accrued, available balance, all right. So it started September 1st. As you notice, it already accrued for 1 month, and that's so you can play around this. Now, if you wanted to have it in the end of the period, so as you notice, it's 0. So by October 1st, all right, you will be expecting a time here, 10 hours, accrued hours, because by the end of September, this employee will have 10 hours by the end. So expected by the first of next month, you will have an available accrued balance of um, 10. But if you want to exactly have the system accrued on the actual date, let's say the next month, October, all right, there. And all right, okay, so it will start October. So you will expect, if you set October, I'm sorry for this one, but it's really confusing. So I set up earlier September 1st. So as I explained to you earlier, what will gonna happen is that come October, this employee will have automatic 10 hours and accrue the next month, and then continue accruing every next month. Now, what will gonna happen if the employee will not be using the total hours here or some of the hours here that remains on the previous month? It will automatically add it on the balance. Okay, so this is how we're going to set up. It's just have to play around the system here if you wanted to catch up the exact setting that you need. But if in case you're having still confusion, we can help you out. Just feel free to let us know. You can chat with our support team. You can call our toll-free number, or you can send us an email what you would like to discuss with us. So we can help you out with the setting. So we have here the job and job assignments. So for jobs, we have here if you have only one department and each department they need to render different in different jobs, you can go ahead and create jobs here. So if they need to render different work from different jobs on the same site, but you can, this is what I'm saying, the difference between the department and the jobs is that you can assign multiple jobs each day in each users, meaning to say they can select one job for this morning, and then they can switch another job for the afternoon. So basically all you have to do is to create a job here and then assign the jobs that you created under the job assignment. All right. The shift I have already discussed to you earlier on how to create a shift. Is very simple. All right, so assigning a jobs is somehow similar with assigning department users. Next, we have edit lock. This is very helpful for you as an administrator and payroll department. Now, especially if the previous timesheet records already been paid on the form of a paycheck, and you don't want other managers or other administrator that you will be adding on the system to be able to edit the previous timesheet records, and that causes fraudulent activities on the account or malicious activities on editing some time records. To avoid that, you can go ahead and select which one of this setting. How would you like to lock each pay period, already previous pay period that you have on the account? For fixed date, let's say for example, from August 31st, 2020 first year, backwards, meaning I would like to lock the time entries made by my employees older than this date. All right. So meaning if you go back way back August 1st and there are some entries, all right, and then you wanted to edit it, the other managers or even you as an administrator won't be able to edit it. The edit button is unavailable during this period of time. So this is how you would like to protect. So if anyone like a manager would like to edit the previous time entries, they need to ask permission from you as the creator of the account. So notification is like how would you like to receive notification from an employee? We have a new way of sending notification. Unlike before, we only have, if you turn it on, email notification. Now we have SMS notification. This is one of the added new feature that we have recently launched or added in our system. If you would like to receive an SMS notification, it's also included under the free plan. All you have to do is just to make sure that you have an added credit on your account. To buy credits, you have to click on this link. And to check your credits, existing credits on your account, you have to click on this one, and then you will see your existing credits and buy a credit if you're missing some credits. Now, why you have to buy credits? Because every dial or clock in, clock out dial, you will be charged 5 cents for SMS. I mean, every time you receive a notification, SMS notification, you will be charged 5 cents for each. Unlike email, is for free. All you have to do is to put here the email of the recipient of the account. And if you would like to receive an email every time your employee clock in, all you have to do is to click on email, all right, or SMS, something like that, or both. All right. So this is the new feature that we have. And then next we have here add-on credits is, of course, if you wanted to buy a credit for your SMS notification. So my setting is the same thing as what I showed you earlier. It's your personal setting for username and password. Product news, let's jump in first. Product news is where you can see information or product updates coming from us. Most of the time we notify our users if there are some updates that going to happen in the future. So just in case, we have send a blast out information for everyone that we're going to have a server update on this time, and this date. You'll be notified. So at least you'll be prepared, and you can notify employees as well. Billing and payments. If you click on this one, it will show you the a way for you to manage your own payments. You can either download your subscription anytime and upgrade it anytime you need it. If you wanted to change your credit card information file, you will be able to manage it yourself as well. So as of this point, you will see this is run by our third-party collector, stripe.com, and all your information are collected by stripe.com. So I have here my MasterCard added here on this, and then my current billing is under paid plan, and I paid yearly subscription, and I'm paid up until the 2023. And then if you want to change your card here, if you want to receive an invoice, then you have to put in or change your invoice information here. And then once the system automatically deduct or made a payment on your account, you will immediately see your receipt here or your invoice. All you have to do is to view or download it, so you can have a compilation of your payments. So it's self-manageable, so you can downgrade it by changing the billing method. You can upgrade to even 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or downgrade it to 6 months only, for 2 months only, or per month. So this is an automatic billing subscription. So in case in the future you would like to be on a free plan, all you have to do is to go back here and then change the system, the billing method, to downgrade to free plan. So the system will not be able to charge you automatically for the next billing cycle. All right, let's say for example you will be on a vacation, and the company will be closed for a month, and since there will be no operations going to happen, so it's useless for you to pay extra $25 for that month. So you can put a rest on your payments by downgrading it first, and then once the operation is back to normal, and then you can go ahead and start billing your same card here. All right, so and then you can select. All right, so that's how simple you're going to manage your own account payments through our open time clock system. This is product T1, and how are you going to clock in, clock out? Let me go ahead and click on exit on this one. Some other employee are required to log in. Example, I will log in as an admin again. All right. If you go to the day view page, by the way, you also have an option here to clock your time as an employee. All right, so let me just get one employee information here so I can log in as an employee. Let me go with January. Let's say January. Username is 1234, but I don't know her password, so let me go ahead and reset password first. This is for January. Yes, I would like to reset the password. I want to change the password. All right, and then save it. Okay, so I'm gonna be exiting from my administrator page here and try to access January's as an employee. So the employee username is 1234. Oops, is that 1234? Sorry. Let me go back to my admin. I forgot her username. The username is, all right, employee username is John. Okay, John. Okay, so so let me exit from here again. All right, so we have here John and the password I created. So this is where you can clock in, clock out. All right, as an employee, if you wanted to see your timesheet records, okay. So let's say be on the afternoon shift. No, I cannot select because I am set up to have an afternoon shift. So test clock in. Example. All right. So example, now I'm about to leave the office and I put in the username and password again. All you have to do is, what will gonna happen is you will see the clock in button turns to red and it's clock out. And then I can go ahead and switch job. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, I clock out and I am assigned to administrator for now. I can go ahead and switch to other jobs like clerical office. So if I click on switch job, just within the day, I will have another clock in for that job. All right. And then as you notice here, okay, I'm clocking out from the clerical. So end of the shift. End of the shift. All right. There you go. Okay. So that's how basically you're going to switch job. So if you're going to take a look at the clock in, clock out, I clock in at this point from the first job and then the second job here. So if I wanted to see the information that where I clock in, clock out, then I have to go to log into my account and see for myself the actual clock in, clock out. So I'm in the first job and then I'm on the clerical office job on the same day. All right, so that's basically it. Uh, Earlier, I demonstrated how to clock in and clock out on an employee. Now, if they log in, they can also clock in here. It's available here. All right. So other way around, they can view their timesheet records is through the day view page. All right. So they will see again the clock button here. So if you will be asking, do we need to log in, enable for us to clock in and clock out? Yes, they may do so, but on the login page itself, they have the clock in button and the login button. So if they just wanted to record their time, they can go ahead and just hit the clock button. And then if they just wanted to view their timesheet records, they just have to hit the login button. All right. So thank you for listening, and that's it for today for our demo today. Hope you learned a lot. But if there's something missing or a gray area on the demonstration today, just feel free to let us know. Contact us. Our toll-free number is always here, and you can also message us on email. You can send us an email, and you can contact our support team through the toll-free number, or you can even chat with us, okay, by hitting the chat button below here, and then yeah, someone from our support department will be able to assist you promptly. All right, so once again, thank you so much for joining us on this demo today, and you do have a great day.